updates from the incident management.
This is John May, General Manager of Petrale Roofing, up on another customer's roof doing a free 21-point inspection. If you'd like us to take a look at your roof, give us a call today, 719-375-8773. We'd be happy to take a look and see the condition of your roof. Petrale Roofing, we're a Diamond certified TAMCO installer, which means we can offer a industry-leading 25-year workmanship warranty to give you peace of mind in the storm. Call Petrale Roofing, 719-375-8773. Schedule your free inspection today.
Good afternoon. I'm Peaks to Plains meteorologist Rachael, and we do have a storm to tell you about. Even though the potential for severe thunderstorms this afternoon was relatively low, one managed to pop up, and that's exactly what we're tracking out there right now. Keeping an eye on the storms across the area, you'll notice that over the last couple of hours, we have had a few storms popping up, and the severe thunderstorm warning that we have to tell you about right now is in southern Teller County. So you can see it surrounded by the yellow box on your screen, and that warning is going to continue until 4:45 this evening. It's because this storm is capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour gusts along with 1 inch in diameter hail. And you'll see that as this storm has popped up, it hasn't really moved all that much. Now, the best potential for seeing hail in this area is going to be right in that kind of white and light pink area that is right over Gold Camp Road. Again, this is in southern Teller County. It is continuing to sort of just churn in the area just to the east of Cripple Creek. The core looks like it's just about 5 miles or so to the east of Cripple Creek, and this is just to the west of Colorado Springs, so you're likely seeing that off in the distance. And this is just one of the cells that we are keeping an eye on this afternoon. We do have another storm that is off toward the south and west of that area, impacting cities of Crestone, Silver Cliff just getting clipped by that storm right now. This storm is not warned as severe. It is just producing some decent rain, which goodness knows we could use quite a bit of. There may be some pea-size hail mixed in with some of these stronger storms as they meander across the area. This storm is producing about 50-mile-per-hour gusts also. So it's the wind that is primarily the concern, more so than the hail size. But these storms are also bringing a bit of rain, so that is great to see. That's something that we could certainly use more of here in southern Colorado. As far as other storms are concerned, we had quite a few storms trying to develop across the southern mountains, the southern sand grays and the wets, but as they popped up, they kind of lost a little bit of their steam. Now, what's going on across Colorado is we are tracking high pressure that is building across the area, which is helping to dry things out. However, we still have quite a bit of low-level moisture that is helping to fuel these storms. So we still have some of the ingredients in place. It wasn't looking like a great chance for these strong storms, but hey, there was still a chance, and that's exactly what we have going on in the southern Teller County region. So again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for southern Teller County. This storm is capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour gusts. It is also capable of producing 1 inch in diameter hail. And you'll see that that little hail core, that area of pink, is just to the east of Cripple Creek. This is not impacting Colorado Springs as of right now, so good news there. If we zoom in, it's impacting Gold Camp Road right now with some of the best potential of seeing that hail. I don't have any reports of hail as of right now. This storm is also producing quite a bit of heavy rain. Heavy rain is something that we had on the north side of Colorado Springs as well earlier this afternoon. And that produced a little bit of pea-size hail on the north side of Colorado Springs also. Good news there. We got a lot of rain on that side of town without the large hail. So that's a great combination that we like to see. So taking a look at what you kind of can expect for the remainder of the afternoon and into the evening hours, you'll notice that we'll have sort of these pop-up storms over the next couple of hours. But once the sun sets and we lose that daytime heating, we'll lose a lot of the energy that these storms need to not only initiate, but to kind of stay alive, if you will. So heading into your early Sunday morning, these storms are expected to dissipate and skies will clear. We are expecting to see, though, the continuation of this low-level moisture sticking around. What that means for us is, yeah, we've got some fuel for these storms if they manage to develop. So they could become briefly strong, produce bursts of heavy rain, the pea-size hail like we saw earlier, because take a look at these dew points. Let me get my arrow up here. We are still in the 50s to even 60s out across the far eastern plains. All of this air is kind of streaming in from the east, and so it's bringing some pretty moist air into eastern Colorado. And you'll notice too that a lot of that air is getting pushed right into the Pikes Peak region. So we are kind of situated in an area where there is a decent amount of potential for thunderstorm strength. Again, the potential for severe weather today was pretty limited. And even this storm that we were keeping an eye on over Teller County, let me pull up radar again and we'll go back to it, is it's not going to maintain its strength to be kind of a really long-lived and intense storm like we were watching yesterday out across the plains. In fact, you'll notice that once I pull radar back up here, you'll notice that even in the last couple of radar scans, this storm is starting to show signs of weakening just a bit. The severe thunderstorm warning is expected to stay in effect, though, for the next 15 minutes. It is in effect until 4:45, so just a little bit of time left on this warning. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1 inch in diameter hail, so about ping pong ball size hail, and the storm is really not moving. So it doesn't look like it's going to pose a super significant threat to Colorado Springs. Obviously, it's pretty far away from that area. It is, though, going to likely bring a little bit of at least light rain to the Rock Creek fire area. So that will be great to get some moisture in that region. But as far as the hail is concerned, if we take a little bit of a closer look, just over the last little bit, you'll notice that, let's see, I can pull this back a little bit. We had that decent hail core kind of by Lazy S Ranch Road, County Road 812, near Gold Camp Road, and then just the last couple of radar scans have now sort of decreased what looks to be the strongest portion of the storm. So we'll zoom out just a little bit. Whoops. There we go. And again, this storm really not moving all that quickly, not in a hurry to get out of the area. The terrain kind of looks like it's maybe trapping it right to the east of Cripple Creek. It looks like there's a little cell that's sort of building back behind the initial storm right to the west of Cripple Creek. So Cripple Creek probably getting in on some good rain right now. Again, this is looking in, zooming pretty close into southern Teller County, right near County Road. Let's see, 881. Gold Camp Loop Road is one of the areas getting some of that heavy rain. Gold Camp Road, Lazy S Ranch, as I already mentioned, is getting in on some of that heavier rain currently. So this is the area, this is the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have to tell you about as of right now, but I felt like it was important to point that out, seeing that's how it's pretty close to the Cripple Creek region. It is going to stick with us here, likely bringing some heavy rain to Victor. Now also, Victor, expect the rain to pick up here shortly as this storm continues to just, as I said, just sort of churn over the area. But it is looking like it's losing a bit of its intensity. We are still keeping our eyes on the potential for rain or even an outflow boundary from storms in the region to push into and potentially impact the Aspen Acres fire, which is located right about this region. No rain over that area yet. We'll put this into motion again, and you'll notice that we had maybe a few sprinkles, but the biggest concern is, of course, not the amount of rain that could fall in the area. That will prompt flash flooding concerns, of course, but the winds from some of these gustier type thunderstorms can create for erratic winds around the fire area, which can make for difficulty when it comes to firefighting efforts. So when we talk about thunderstorms near the burn area, of course, we want some of the rain to help extinguish the flames. When we have a fire that burns, though, as hot as the Aspen Acres fire has been burning, that can create concerns with regards to hydrophobic soils. What happens when these fires burn is they sort of melt the resin and the waxy materials that are naturally just in plants, and it creates this crust over the ground that water cannot penetrate. So it's sort of like pouring water on concrete. It just slides right off. So that's exactly what happens when it rains over some of that burn scar area. So that's why flash flooding is always a concern. If you've lived in the Colorado Springs area, you can remember this from the Black Forest and the Waldo Canyon fires. All of the fires, we have kind of had these flash flood concerns afterwards. So we'd love to get just a nice light, steady rain over that area rather than a burst of heavy rain, which could cause for some issues. But again, it's the winds, the outflow winds from some of these stronger storms that could create a few issues, especially this storm that is just to the west, southwest of where that Aspen Acres fire is burning. That's impacting Crestone right now with some decent rain, not looking to be severe by any means. Just some nice rain. The only warning that we have to continue to tell you about is for this storm in southern Teller County. Still hanging on to that warning until 4:45. It looks like there is the potential again for those 60-mile-per-hour gusts. Kind of looks like perhaps that hail core is pulsing right back up. This storm was producing the potential for about ping pong ball size hail, which is about 1.5 inches in diameter. You know, once you kind of get up in elevation, you're closer to that cloud layer. So what that can kind of mean, or that freezing layer, was you do have the potential to see hail with these storms, and even some larger hail. Hail is one of those things that we see a lot with just your run-of-the-mill thunderstorms here in Colorado. We had pea-size hail reported in northern Colorado Springs earlier this afternoon, and now we are continuing to track that potential in this storm. It's just sticking right in that area, pretty stationary. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a huge issue. If it does kind of move off of the hills, it could slide down the Front Range and impact southern El Paso County, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But as of right now, this is the only warning. We'll zoom right in and kind of see where we have that largest area of hail, or the area of the potential for the largest hail, and that still looks to be right about Gold Camp Road. This storm is producing just a little bit of lightning, so you may be able to hear that in southern parts of Colorado Springs. Cripple Creek, likely hearing a few rumbles of thunder off in the distance as well. This storm just kind of sitting sitting and spinning right near Cathedral Park right now. That area of red and the whites sort of show where we have the potential to see some large hail. Zooming out though across the state, looking up toward Denver, we have a few scattered showers just to the north and west of the Denver metro area. Those storms also not severe, just producing some nice rain near Estes Park, Grand Lake, probably getting a few sprinkles right now. Great to see that. It has been so dry really over the last 6 months that any rain that we can get anywhere across the state is always welcome. Elsewhere, we have that cluster of showers near Crestone, and something that we have been keeping an eye on and where we have the best potential of seeing more severe weather as well to the south of Colorado. Near the Raton Mesa, we have a few scattered storms impacting areas just to the south and east of Trinidad, east of Starkville, north of Raton. These storms also not severe right now, but a nice little burst of rain moving through, pushing off toward the south currently. Great to see that. Across the plains, though, not as lucky, unfortunately, today, which maybe after all of the storms that we had yesterday, it's kind of a welcome change. It got pretty active yesterday evening from La Junta out toward Eads. Kit Carson included in several severe thunderstorm warnings that we tracked in detail for you right here on Peaks to Plains. So thankfully, it is a bit quieter out there today. And I do think that while we do have this severe thunderstorm warned cell in South Teller County, these storms are going to be few and far between. I don't expect a ton in the way of severe thunderstorm warnings, but of course, when and if they pop up, we will be here for you right here on Peaks to Plains, keeping you ahead of all of these storms as they develop this afternoon. That's kind of the nice thing about having this platform and all the tools that we are able to use is we can stream not only on all of our social media platforms, but make sure you are downloading the Peaks to Plains app that will notify you of thunderstorms and warned thunderstorms in your area if you so choose, and also when we go live. So that is a great tool for you to have at your disposal. Again, this storm is impacting the cities of Cripple Creek, Victor, still looking for a couple more minutes on this warning. And then if it gets extended, which for the potential for gusty winds and to see if it may pulse back up, there's the possibility of that. But this storm kind of looking like it's losing a bit of its oomph, if you will. So here's kind of the progression of the storm. It popped up over Cripple Creek, sort of sat and spun and got a little bit more energy to work with. Right around 4:20 is when it looked like it was pretty strong, capable of producing some of the largest hail as it pulsed up, but then sort of weakened a touch. Could be in the process of regenerating somewhat. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Something that we saw with a lot of the storms that we had across the area yesterday was they would sort of lose some of their intensity and then they would kind of regain some of the energy that they needed to produce hail once again as they slid across the eastern plains. This one, though, not really making much progress, so it's probably pretty to look at from the distance, likely making a nice cumulus cloud over the mountains. Cripple Creek, you're seeing it off toward your east, hearing a few rumbles of thunder, but not overly active, not quite as much as the storms that we had yesterday. Let's see. This warning has now been reissued, actually, I think, again, because there is that potential for it to kind of pulse back up and still produce a little bit of thunder and lightning around southern Colorado, or around southern Teller County. So we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning that has now been reissued until 5:15 this evening. This storm is located right near Victor, about 14 miles southwest of Colorado Springs. 60-mile-per-hour gusts now and about 1 inch in diameter hail, so that's about quarter-size hail, is associated with this storm. And the best chance for seeing that hail is going to be, let me get my pointer back out, right here, kind of in that where you see those white dots on your screen. So that is going to be one of the spots where we continue to track the potential for that hail. If you are in the Cripple Creek area, this storm looks like, unless it kind of back builds into Cripple Creek, you're sort of just staying really on the western flank of this storm, starting to move a little bit farther toward the south. You'll notice kind of the warning boundary. This storm is starting to slowly inch farther toward the south, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Looks like it's kind of stuck in the terrain just a bit, but we'll zoom in a little bit. If you're just joining us here on Peaks to Plains, we do have one severe thunderstorm warning across the area. Not quite as impressive of a setup today as we had yesterday, so I don't expect that we will have a significant severe weather afternoon. The severe thunderstorm warning that we are keeping a very close eye on is right over southern Teller County, just to the east of Cripple Creek. It does include the city of Victor. This storm is capable of producing quarter-size hail, and likely that hail impacting Gold Camp Road in Teller County. So if you know somebody who may have been hiking or camping in the area, they're probably getting a nice little hailstorm, unfortunately, over them right now. Quarter-size hail is about 1 inch in diameter, 60-mile-per-hour gusts with this storm. Also, a nice little burst of rain is something else that I would anticipate as this storm slowly spins over this area. And I'll put it into motion. You'll see it really hasn't made that much progress. It's kind of just continuing to bubble up in this same area just to the east of Cripple Creek. We'll place a little distance tracker on there, and from the central portions of Cripple Creek, it's about 6 miles just off to the east, and from Colorado Springs, it's about 10 to 15 miles off to the south and west. So just a little storm to keep an eye on, producing some rain. We saw quite a few storms around the Colorado Springs area. We'll rewind radar just a little bit. If you are tuning in from northern Colorado Springs, you probably heard around Black Forest and near Northgate this storm that produced quite a bit of thunder and lightning around Cathedral Pines, Cordera, Briargate. That produced a decent amount of pea-size hail on the north side of town as well. A lot of heavy rain at first. It was pretty short-lived, but it was nice to get the rain. Kind of free water is what we call it in our house, something that we love to get more and more of. The only warning that we have as of right now, southern Teller County, it's the lone wolf storm out there today that had just the right setup, probably a little terrain driven, some heating from the sun earlier today, all the ingredients in place to get that thunderstorm to pop up and cause the National Weather Service to want to issue that severe thunderstorm warning, which again has now been extended until 5:15 this evening. This storm is starting to make a little bit of progress, moving off to the south and east, but all in all, not moving overly quickly at all. Taking a look at some of the other storms that we have in the area, we have a cluster of showers that are continuing to impact areas just to the north of the sand dunes. Crestone got a decent amount of rain. Hopefully most of it made it to the ground. I know that thunderstorms have the potential today to produce more wind than rain. That is sort of a byproduct of the high pressure building in, drawing some drier air into the area from the west. But right now, Crestone's seeing some of that rain just south of Silver Cliff, passing over 69 currently. That is going to be an area that we get some rain, which will be welcomed. We do not have a flash flood watch issued for the Aspen Acres fire today. And the reason why is because storms were, again, not expected to be overly abundant. We are not expecting widespread storms, certainly not expecting widespread severe weather, just a few kind of popcorn storms as we take you into the afternoon and evening. We've got that little cell that is situated just to the south and east of Trinidad, trying to make a run for it, but kind of sticking along the path there, bringing some heavy rain. And one of the reasons why we are continuing to keep an eye on these storms is we do have enough low-level moisture where that is interacting with a bit of diurnal heating, which is our daytime heating from the sun. And that is kind of why we are getting some of this storm activity despite the fact that we have that high pressure moving into place. So not a very active afternoon, especially in comparison to the past couple of days. I don't expect these storms to stick around. Skycast is picking up on that as well, keeping the chance for a few isolated storms through about 7 o'clock. And then once the sun sets, which should be right around the 8:30 time frame, these storms lose sort of that energy, the fuel from the sun, the heating of the day, and things should really quiet down into the evening and definitely into tomorrow morning. Here's a look at about 4:30 early tomorrow morning. So obviously it is going to be a dry start to your Sunday. These storms are not expected to last into the night. Different than what we had last night, where storms kind of lingered well into the early morning hours of your Saturday morning. Again, here's the low-level moisture that we are keeping an eye on. And sort of in Colorado, I was always taught that 50 is this magical number, and it has really proven to be true. So I always remember that as one of the first lessons I learned when I was moving and trying to forecast here in Colorado. Dew point temperatures rather are in the low 50s right now from Colorado Springs to Lyman, 52 in Pueblo, but the higher the number, the more moisture you have to work with. And clearly you can see that out across the southeastern corner of the state, we have upper 50s and 60s. Now compare that moisture that we have across the lower elevations streaming in. You can see these wind streams streaming in from the east to how dry it is up in the high country. So we have dew points only in the 20s and 30s. So we have kind of this battle of the air masses, the dry air over the west, kind of colliding with this moisture air streaming in from the east. And so that's kind of creating some of this lift that we need for some isolated thunderstorms to begin to pop up as we take you through the remainder of the day today. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple more storms capable of some small hail, but that is going to be the exception rather than the rule. I do believe that most of the storms that pop up will be pretty short-lived and relatively weak. The one exception, of course, is this one little storm that we are continuing to keep an eye on. I'll use one of our other tools that we have here at Peaks to Plains, which is kind of fun to have all of these different ways to show you the weather around the area. So here we have our severe thunderstorm warning, just another look at radar right now. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 5:15 this evening. It is for the potential for 60-mile-per-hour gusts. We'll have to watch out for outflow boundaries coming out of this storm, as well as the storm continues traveling very, very slowly. In fact, it's more stationary than it is in motion. But this storm is capable of producing 1 inch in diameter hail, so about quarter-size hail. Let me take that warning off for you. And it is sort of looking like the hail core is once again kind of losing a little bit of its intensity right now. We'll zoom in, and here's Gold Camp Road. Let me make sure that that's centered on your screen. Here's Gold Camp Road kind of spinning through the area, and those areas of red, those kind of red pixels on the screen, that's where we have the best potential of possibly getting some of that quarter-size hail, that 1 inch in diameter hail. Kind of looking like it did this once before already. The core of the storm is maybe losing a little bit of its intensity currently, but that's not to say that it won't sort of pulse back up again. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll put it into motion for you so you can kind of see the progression of this storm. It's the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have out there right now, so not as active of a day as we had over the past couple of days. We'll let this loop through once again. Here's a look at about 3:30 through 4 o'clock, 4:30, now heading toward the 5 o'clock hour. This storm was at one point, I'll slow this down a little bit, producing a little bit of lightning around 4 o'clock. Not an overly active storm with regard to how much lightning it's producing. You'll notice around 4:40, we had that core kind of pulse back up again, and then it's weakened just slightly. As it's now about 4:54. We'll get another radar loop to come up here in a second. But in the meantime, let's take a look and see what else we have going on. A few areas of very light rain just off to the west of Bailey. Denver got in on a really nasty storm, unfortunately, during the rush hour time yesterday. That caused a lot of ponding on the roads, some issues there for drivers. Estes Park, just to the south of Estes Park, near Allens Park and Lyons, we're getting a little bit of nice rain. Great to see that. Love getting the rain without the potential for hail. Farther toward the south, there's our little severe thunderstorm warning in southern Teller County. Again, that will continue until 5:15, so we've got another about 20 minutes left on that storm. We are keeping an eye on this cluster of storms near Crestone. That little tan box on your screen is a severe weather statement from the National Weather Service. It's just indicating the potential for 50-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-inch hail. That is below the threshold for what the requirements are to warn a cell as a severe thunderstorm. So that's why they issue this special weather statement. It's kind of a precursor to a severe thunderstorm warning. If that storm were to intensify, obviously a severe thunderstorm warning would be needed. But as of right now, it's just kind of a warning that that storm is pretty strong. Near Blanca and San Luis, we have a little bit of rain, and we are continuing to track that cell that is right over the Raton Pass right now, between Trinidad and Raton. So another little cell there. Off to the south, though, that's where we have the better chance of getting some stronger storms, a little bit more moisture, and we're getting some of that tropical moisture sort of streaming into that area. So south of Des Moines, Maxwell, Springer, right kind of in the center of that area. This is New Mexico now. We have a few scattered storms down there. Something that's interesting that I know is probably showing up on your map are these areas of pink and orange. We have actually extreme heat warnings and heat advisories for the western slope right now because of the high pressure that is expected to build in. That is going to create extreme heat conditions for the western slope. Places like Montrose expecting temperatures nearing 100 degrees. And listen to this, up in the Dakotas and Montana, we're tracking well into the triple digits here over the next couple of days for temperatures. So it is going to get pretty hot thanks to some of that drier air moving in. Checking back in with our storm, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning. You'll notice that this storm, though, is situated well to the east of Cripple Creek. The core looking to be about 7 to 8 miles west of Cripple Creek, and then Victor is looking to be about 4 miles to the west, to the west of the core of the storm. As far as the rain is concerned, it's about a mile off to your east, Victor. So if you're turning in from Victor, welcome. Thank you for joining Peaks to Plains and our coverage here. But yep, we'll put it back into motion again, and you'll notice that it's just kind of been popped up and hasn't really done much. It's not in any hurry to get out of the area. It kind of looks like it's been trying to regain a little bit of its energy, but it's having a bit of trouble doing so. I'm going to take you back over to our main Peaks to Plains radar, give you a little change of scenery. We'll track it with, again, one of our other tools, which is fun to have in a situation like this. We can really just dive into it and show you everything that you need to know about this storm. You'll notice that before we were tracking a little area of kind of white and pink, signaling that we had the potential for some ping pong ball size hail at one point. Now the storm is kind of looking to be dying out. I anticipate that at 5:15, which is about 17 minutes away, there is going to be, unless this storm pulses back up, that severe thunderstorm warning will continue until 5:15. And if things continue on this trend of sort of decreasing in intensity, which it looks like it's doing, I sort of think that warning will probably be allowed to expire. 60-mile-per-hour gusts have been something that has been a concern with this storm. As it has slowly spun in southern Teller County. This storm, again, is about 14 miles southwest of Colorado Springs. The areas that are included in this warning are Cripple Creek and Victor, but those are two cities that are situated just west of the actual core of this storm. You will notice now that we're starting to get this cell is kind of back building a little bit, getting a little bit more rain over portions of Teller County, which is nice to see, especially when we get it without the hail. County Road 1 getting a little bit of rain right now. Mueller State Park, if you know folks that are camping or hiking or enjoying outdoor activities in that area, probably getting a little bit of nice rain will help cool things off this afternoon. If we zoom out though, you'll see that this storm doesn't look like it's going to impact Colorado Springs. However, from the Springs, you're likely seeing it off over the mountains. If we zoom out, still keeping an eye on that cluster of storms near just to the north of the sand dunes near Crestone. And that is a storm that is capable of producing maybe some gusty winds, but no severe thunderstorm warning associated with that cell just yet. Let's see, let me see if we have any storm reports to tell you about. And I don't think that I have seen anything coming into the area just yet. Let me put this radar into motion. There we go. Looks like these storms are picking up just a little bit south of Trinidad, kind of growing in coverage from along I-25 between Trinidad and Raton, right along the Colorado-New Mexico state line. Those storms really kind of just sitting in that area, also not really making much progression to the east. Let's see if I can get some comments. Let's see. Zooming out. Yep, the only thunderstorm, again, that we are still keeping an eye on, and you could pretty clearly see it when we start looping this radar that it's not looking quite as impressive as it was. I would anticipate that this storm has lost a little bit of its power. And so that being said, that warning is probably going to be allowed to let go here in the next 15 minutes or so. So we'll take one more last look around the area. We are continuing to track high pressure building in to southern Colorado. And as it does so, it is starting to dry things out over the high country first, but we still have a lot of low level moisture to work with. And so that is helping to drive some of these storms this afternoon. We had those in the forecast yesterday. We talked about them. Quite honestly, it didn't look like the potential for getting a severe storm was all that great, but we managed to have a little storm kind of defy the odds and pop up over southern Teller County, not impacting too many areas right now as it's not moving. It's pretty stationary, starting to lose a bit of its hail core. As that happens, we can expect to see winds out of this storm likely increasing, kind of like a little mini cold front that spreads out from the storm. If that pushes southward and holds itself together as it moves toward the Aspen Acres fire, that is something that firefighters will likely have to plan for. They have an incident meteorologist on their team that is probably keeping a close eye on all of this, or I'm sure is keeping a close eye on all of this, making sure that they are ready to direct the firefighters if a wind gust or a wind speed direction change happens here over the next hour or so. This cell still looking like it's capable of producing some wind, but it now looks like the National Weather Service has gone ahead and noticed what we are noticing here too, and that's the fact that this storm has kind of lost a little bit of its gusto. So that thunderstorm warning was allowed to expire. Zooming out, you'll see that that was really the only storm that we had out there to keep an eye on this afternoon. So I'm going to let you guys carry on with your afternoon. Of course, if another thunderstorm pops up that looks like it might be capable of producing any hail or damaging winds, I will be right here with you on Peaks to Plains, because it is our weather together here in southern Colorado.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Dewey, here with another water-wise tip.
During summer, do you know why we water up to 3 days a week?
To make the best use of me.
Exactly. It builds deeper, stronger roots and makes your lawn more resilient.
Also, use the cycle and soak method. Try shorter cycles with breaks in between to reduce runoff.
And in spring or fall, you can water 1 or 2 days per week. Be water-wise and your lawn will thrive.
Now that's water-wise. Learn more at csu.org/waterwise.